certification of compliance with open meetings law.
He's good.
Roll call.
Ron,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Mattson, here.
Approved minutes from June 10th, 2019, and hearing. Electric special town meeting minutes from June 18th, 2019.
There are 4 minutes.
There were 4.
Move to approve all 4.
Been moved to approve the 4 meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion's carried. Public comment? No. Reports. Treasurer.
General fund, $140,287.88. Tax account, $2,582.70. LGIP general, $106,770.58. LGIP fire EMS, $2.67. Airport, $39,148 even. LGIP airport, 55 cents. CenturyLink telephone, $131.44. We Energies town hall, $70.40. We Energies lights, $54 even. Badgerland disposal, $8,752.20. Northwest services for potholes, $5,562.42. Jonathan Hooper for cemetery, $500. UW Wisconsin Pazer Whistler training that Eddie will be going to, $80. Lang Enterprises, fire numbers for West 1633 and West 2254 plus road signs, $484.56. Most of that is for the road signs. They were road closed, wasn't it?
Rough road and high water.
Jefferson County Highway Department repair Dallin Lane and Beacons, $2,255.01. Bender Levi Town Legal, $678.25. Grotto Assessor, $2,375 even. Village of Palmyra for the Rec Department, $5,000. Village of Palmyra Fire and EMS, $24,523.75. IRS second quarter withholding, $1,403.01. Larry Call, July salary, $369.40. Peggy Miller, July salary, plus reserving the school and supplies, $616.25. Alan Schmidt, deputy clerk, $577.19.
Move to approve the treasurer's report. Second.
It's been moved to approve the treasurer's report. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Emergency management plan.
Nothing.
Fire department.
Peggy, we did that.
Oh, yeah, we did. I'd have to look at them.
Ladder truck has been, ladder
Ladder
truck
truck
was sold.
And they delivered it to somewhere in, I don't know, Missouri or someplace. And then they had to go, fly back, I guess, so. Anyway, I think we ended up with, what, 25,000?
Yeah, I think it was like 25,000.
So, and it's gone, and we got to pay for half of it.
Yep.
That's all I know from the fire department. I still don't have a report. An incident report, so.
Did we get the check yet? or no?
Yes, we did.
Airport?
I have no report.
You wanna bring up about the stormwater?
I'm gonna wait till after next week, next meeting,
Okay.
we'll figure out what's going on.
Blue Spring Lake District.
They had a very nice 4th of July parade.
a sign down, speed limit sign, or a 25-mile-an-hour sign on North Blue Spring Lake Drive that got fixed today. And something, did you ever find out about those fire numbers?
No, I didn't.
We're gonna have to do something. A fire is one thing, but an emergency response to something would be something completely different. You know, a fire, you probably could see it, but an ambulance you can't, and those fire numbers, if you're coming from H on Blue Spring Lake Drive, you can't read them at all.
Do we have any others around the town, you think?
There's, the ones I've seen are all around Blue Spring Lake. There were a couple of them on Hooper that
Okay,
were replaced.
yeah,
There's one more on Hooper. One side is pristine and the other side is white.
really?
And when I talked to them about it, they said it was from the sun. Well,
Come on.
why would a handful of them out of the
Yeah,
whole township do that?
right,
But there's a bunch of them on H,
okay,
around by the dam,
yeah,
and then on both sides, on South Shore Drive and Blue Spring Lake Drive. And it's mostly to the west side. So I went through and I counted, there were 25 easily that could be replaced. And I called Lang, and I think it came down to, what was it, Peggy, $18 and some cents a sign,
Per sign.
per sign.
that doesn't include the post, that's just the sign.
It's, well, you don't need the post,
You just bolt the new one onto the
you
post.
just bolt a new one
Yeah.
onto the post.
Yeah,
If you got 2 dozen, that was the price, and 1 dozen, it was like 19 something, and under a dozen was 20 something. So it'd come out to around $500 to replace them all, if that's what we're gonna do. It'd probably be the easiest solution,
if we're gonna do it, should we try to make sure we don't have others to do it at the same time?
but we should drive around and find out, yeah.
We don't know how to do it.
But it's gonna take some time to write everything up
Right,
and then have them do it.
right.
No signs probably then, right? Is that for no signs?
It's
That
a
would be
new fire
new-
number.
No fire number signs.
Right.
Is that it?
Yeah. And I found the fire truck, sale of fire truck. It's $25,342.23.
Okay.
Building inspector,
We've got a permit for James and Candy Olson. It's for a tree removal, and then they will be replanting one. It's by the dam, because it has to be removed because it's impacting the dam. And then Philip and Jody Schmidt, a garage, no business use, no habitable use, no bathroom.
Where's
They're on
that?
County Road E. Wanna see that one? There's Francis Schultz. He is building a new house. And he's on Blue Spring Lake Drive. That's it. That's it,
that's it?
that's it.
Highway,
Okay, all the work that you want done on Thayer is done except for a couple areas of edging yet, and he sees how that done tomorrow. And then his next project will be moving on to Island Road. I gotta apologize, I don't know what projects he's working on for him, because I've been out of town, but.
Potholes.
Okay. And then, he did say that, you should take a look at, and maybe talk to the farmer out there on the intersection of Thayer and Marion. He says he needs an apron that comes out of his field, because he keeps tearing up the edge of the road. They're gonna fix it again tomorrow, but they come out of the field and they're just right up on the edge of the road.
Jeff's place.
Jeff's place, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they come come up with that skid steer and they're constantly coming out spinning when they come out.
I know it.
And mowing's done, so.
Did they find any cars in the bottom of that big pothole on Fair Road?
I hauled into the scrapyard already.
We, had a culvert collapse, or on the verge of collapsing on Tower Road that's being fixed tomorrow.
That's it for
That's all I
highway.
got, yeah.
Correspondence?
For zoning, the findings for Stephen and Linda Steinhaw for their rezone, that one was approved. The one for Gregory Dufek was denied. The variance will be
Contrary
yeah,
to the,
is that, yeah, that's the one that will be contrary to public interest as expressed by the purpose intent of the zoning ordinance because opposition was expressed. Does not affect the public. Evidently somebody,
I think they put some alternatives on there, didn't they?
Yeah, move the garage.
Yeah.
yeah, they can move it someplace else,
Put an addition someplace else,
yeah.
because it's a non-conforming building, right? It's too close
This
to the
property
lot line.
does not make this a necessary, does not make it necessary.
Is the garage already non-conforming? Is
Yes.
that part of the property?
It would make it
I
non-conforming.
think it already is.
Yeah. So that one was denied.
I thought what they wanted to do was pretty attractive, actually.
that's it.
That's it.
Okay, new business. Discuss and possible action for request by Thomas and Shelley Hooper to create a 2.75 acre A3 building site from an existing A1 zone off Pine Drive. PIN number 024-0516-1144-000.
So what are your plans, Tom?
Our hope is to build a small cabin there, and it will stay in our family. It will stay owned by our family, so the property's not going anywhere, but we want the ability to have an additional small cabin there, potentially for Shelley and I to retire to, or for our oldest son, Jonathan, to move into, as he's wanting to stay as well. So we're looking into different options that way, but it's at the corner of our lot, and wanting it to be over there on Pine Drive.
Where are you looking for, putting in a driveway?
Yes,
Where?
somewhere in that area. I mean, it's a rectangle, so somewhere through those woods, there's a path in there currently, so it could follow that path, but there's nothing, we're not set or sold on any particular spot.
Did you come up here and show me on the map where the path is? Okay, this is Pine Drive.
So ballpark driveway would be in this area right in here, and the cabin would end up potentially sitting right up here at the edge of the.
Okay, so it'd be between your old driveway and Billy's driveway.
Yes, I believe so, most likely.
Okay, is there any restrictions on driveways like that?
Well, if it's not a highway, there probably isn't. If you're on a highway, like a limited access highway, like Highway 106, there's definitely restrictions. You've got to be so many feet from the.
So that's something you'd have to look into when you put the driveway in.
Yeah, you'll have to deal
In
with
terms
the county
of-
on that.
in terms of being too close to either of those two driveways?
Yeah,
Right.
Well,
Once in a while, they'll ask you to be directly across from another driveway.
Sure, sure, and that would be fine too. I don't think that would be an issue.
If you did,
Okay.
that's probably the best way to do it.
'Cause I don't think this one would make much sense, because then you're cutting through trees the entire time, but being right across from Bill's driveway wouldn't be bad. I think that where we would picture it is much closer to his driveway
this is where
anyways.
John drives in.
Correct,
Okay.
down here somewhere,
How big is this?
400 feet by 300 feet. roughly.
All right. I have no objections, I make a motion to pass the, application for rezone.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request by Thomas and Shelley Hooper to create a 2.75 acre A3 building site from an existing A1 zone of Pine Drive. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible action concerning resolution to petition BOA for airport improvement aid, Bureau of Aeronautics, for airport improvement aid.
Make a motion to approve the petition.
Is it, I believe this is something that has to be read.
Well, if we're gonna do a resolution, we have to read the resolution, I guess. So,
And this would be resolution number 1 of this year,
right.
correct?
Correct.
So, gonna read Peggy?
Patty reads resolutions.
Hey, somebody's gotta read it, I guess.
2019-1.
01.
Resolution petitioning the Secretary of Transportation for airport improvement aid by the Palmyra Town Board, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Whereas the Town of Palmyra, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, hereinafter referred to as a sponsor, being a municipal body corporate of the state of Wisconsin, is authorized by Wisconsin Statute 114.11 to acquire, establish, construct, own, control, lease, equip, improve, maintain, and operate an airport. And whereas the sponsor desires to develop or improve the Palmyra Municipal Airport, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, petition for airport project. Whereas airport users have been consulted in formulation of the improvements included in this resolution, and whereas a public hearing was held prior to the adoption of this petition in accordance with Wisconsin Statute 114.33, Parent 2, as amended, and the transcript of the hearing is transmitted with this petition, and therefore be it resolved by the sponsor that a petition for federal and/or state aid in the following form is hereby approved. The petitioner desiring to sponsor an airport development project with federal and state aid or state aid only in accordance with the applicable state and federal laws respectfully represents and states that the airport which is desired to develop should generally conform to the requirements for a general aviation type airport as defined by the Federal Aviation Administration. The character, extent, and kind of improvements desired under the project are as follows: construct hangars, land reimbursement, update airport layout plan, ALP, and Exhibit A property map, construct perimeter fence, planning for future airport development, create stormwater management plan, conduct wildlife site visit, clear and maintain runway approaches as stated in Wisconsin Administrative Code Trans 55, and any necessary related work. That the airport project which your petitioner desires to sponsor is necessary for the following reasons: to meet the existing and future needs of the airport. Whereas it is recognized that the improvements petitioned for as listed will be funded individually or collectively as funds are available, with specific project costs to be approved as work is authorized, the proportionate cost of the airport development projects described above, which are to be paid by the sponsor to the Secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, herein referred to as the Secretary, to be held in trust for the purposes of the project, Any unneeded and unspent balance after the project is completed is to be returned to the sponsor by the secretary. The sponsor will make available any additional monies that may be found necessary upon request of the secretary to complete the project as described above. And the secretary shall have the right to suspend or discontinue the project at any time additional monies are found to be necessary by the secretary, and the sponsor does not provide the same. In the event the sponsor unilaterally terminates the project, all reasonable federal and state expenditures related to the project shall be paid by the sponsor. And whereas the sponsor is required by Wisconsin Statute 114.32, Parent 5, to designate the secretary as its agent to accept, receive, receipt for, and disperse any funds granted by the United States under the Federal Airport and Airway Improvement Act, and is authorized by law to designate the secretary as its agent for other purposes. Designation of the Secretary of Transportation as sponsor's agent. Therefore, be it resolved by the sponsor that the Secretary is hereby designated as its agent and is requested to agree to act as such in matters relating to the airport development project described above, and is hereby authorized as its agent to make all arrangements for the development and final acceptance of the completed project, whether by contract, agreement, force account, or otherwise, and particularly to accept, receive, receipt for, and disperse federal monies or other monies, either public or private, for the acquisition, construction, improvement, maintenance, and operation of the airport, and to acquire property or interest in property by purchase, gift, lease, or eminent domain under Wisconsin Statute 32.02, and to supervise the work of any engineer, appraiser, negotiator, contractor, or other person employed by the Secretary, and to execute any assurances or other documents required or requested by any agency of the federal government, and to comply with all federal and state laws, rules, and regulations relating to airport development projects. Further, the sponsor requests that the Secretary provide for Wisconsin Statute 114.33, Parent 8, Parent A, that the sponsor may acquire certain parts of the required land or interest in land that the Secretary shall find necessary to complete the aforesaid project. Airport owner assurances. And be it further resolved that the sponsor agrees to maintain and operate the airport in accordance with certain conditions established in Wisconsin Administrative Code Transportation 55, or in accordance with sponsor assurances enumerated in a federal grant agreement.
The rest is just signing it.
And the rest is just signing it, yes. So I make a motion we pass the four-read resolution.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded to pass or approve the resolution petitioning the Secretary of Transportation for airport improvement aid. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion is carried. Discussion and action to have a public hearing to determine if town electors would agree to borrow money to repair town roads. This hearing will be advisory only.
What I would like to do, I've talked to Brian Udovich, he's the head of the highway department in Jefferson. We can probably get matching funds to redo Little Prairie Road. To do that, we'd have to do more than just a grind and repave or an overlay. We'd have to do a complete pulverize and pave would be a minimum. The cost of that, I didn't realize that we had about a third of a mile on Little Prairie Road where it goes south toward Little Prairie. so we don't go from the stop sign, we go up farther. So it turns out to be 3 miles, 2.6 miles, 2.67 miles. The estimate I got from Payne and Dolan was $615,000. Now, if we do this, this will be with discretionary funding from the state. We can get half of that paid for, but we don't have our half for a sponsor.
So we would need to borrow.
So we would need to borrow our half. Actually, when I talked to the Board of Commissioner of Public Lands, the state gets paid, or the contractor gets paid completely by the municipality, and then the state reimburses us. So we would have to borrow the whole amount in advance, which there's no problem, there's no early penalty or prepayment penalty. But I don't wanna do this on our say-so. I would like the public to have their input. This happened in Lake Mills. They were granted the discretionary funding, and then they had to get more money because they screwed something up, another $500,000. And they had it all worked out, and then they had their public hearing and they didn't want it. So, that money that took 2 years to get, and nobody else in the county had a shot at anything because they got the money, was gone. So nobody in Jefferson County got their money. So what I would like to do is have a Saturday in late August, whenever we can get to school. The 17th or the 24th is what I would like. And we can work with the county. We'll send out postcards to all the electors. And hopefully we'll have 100 people or more come and vote to see if they want to do it, or if they just want to keep patching the road. And, I'm fine either way. But we have an opportunity to get state funding for something. And if we did that, I would like to take $500,000 and do some more. Because the end of Zion Road from Pine Drive to Cooper is bad. Tamarack from the village limit to where we finished paving a few years ago is bad. And the way west end of Marsh Road is bad, about a half a mile.
And take $500,000 from where, from our existing funds?
No, if we borrowed, say $700,000, that's the number we're kind of throwing around.
Okay.
Pay back $200,000 and make the loan for $500,000. So that would cover our half of the Little Prairie project and leave maybe $150,000 to do some more work.
Isn't our half 300?
Depends on how much the total bill is.
Okay.
So I said we're throwing the number 700,000 around, because it has to have an engineering stamp, because it's over $65,000. So we'll have to have an engineer put a say-so on it too.
But the 200 to 300 we'd get reimbursed for, and then we'd spend 200 to 300 on the road, and then the balance would be used for other projects.
Other road projects, and we could, I think when you get the money from the Bureau of Public Lands, you have to use it in that year. But maybe when we're borrowing this much, we wouldn't have to, but
Do you have to use it for that specific project?
no, because when we borrowed the last time, I put for various projects, and they were fine with that.
As long as you say it's road project.
Right.
Yeah, road projects, right.
And if you look at the roads, we'd have no problem
Oh, I
spending,
know that.
we'd have no problem spending the whole amount. So, that's what I would like to do.
The net amount, then after the money would be paid back, the net amount of the loan of the let's say it's 700,000 and it costs 250, so there'd be 450, right? And we'd have to pay half or you pay for Little Prairie Road and then the rest of the money. Would that be on like a 10-year loan?
Yeah,
And then the taxes per taxpayer would only be about $30 a year additional, approximately, is that right?
I haven't worked that out, I think it'd be more than that, cause it was $30,
So it was 30 for,
$150,000,
okay.
so.
That's what was, yeah, for 5 years.
And I've talked to our legislators, that's how they want us to do it. They want us to borrow the money, they don't wanna raise taxes, they want us to raise taxes.
Exactly. My question would be, I guess, just from interest standpoint, how much of the traffic on Little Prairie Road is even town traffic? You know, so the state's putting, the legislators are putting us in the box of having to
Right.
repair the roads for who knows who to use. They're not
And-
willing to do it.
We will be putting out counters in the next couple weeks.
Oh, good.
He said it's gonna cost us about $200, that'll be on us.
Too bad we can't put out a camera to see what the plates are. Where they're from.
But because that road has horse riders camp and it gets considerable truck traffic
And it's a shortcut for a lot of people.
and there are farms on there, I mean, it's a multi-use
Right.
road and it goes through the state forest, so there's the trails coming across it.
Sure.
He
Makes
said-
a lot of use, no question about it.
He said that the county would go to bat for us and they usually get what, if they go to bat, they get it. And we're the first ones in line, we're the first ones that approached him. So he thinks we'd have a very good shot at it. But again, that being said, if it gets voted down, we won't do it.
But we would have to go the whole 9 yards doing the resolution to increase the levy for, what is it, next year, year after that? Because we would get the money next year, and then the first payment would be due the year after that.
Right.
Right.
But we would have to get the electors to vote to increase the levy to cover the loan.
Would that be approximately 90,000 then per taxpayer for 10 years? $90 a year, not 90,000, 90 a year?
I don't,
We have to work that out.
Approximately?
It's hard to say.
If,
probably 100.
okay.
If it was $30 on 150,000, it's just, it's a round number that I don't know if it's right or not.
And whatever we don't use, we just pay them back right away.
Sure.
Then there's no interest on it.
We just can't pay back. They told me, I think it's from October till January. They don't want anything done when it's
Right.
around budget time. So, I don't know if we need a,
We need to set a date, I guess.
well, nobody said for sure that you wanna do it. I mean, that's just what I wanna do. You haven't weighed in on it, Larry hasn't
I
weighed in on it.
agree with you.
I agree with you. If we're gonna do this, we definitely should have a hearing, and see what people think.
And Eddie would like to send out postcards. I don't know if anybody's received the postcards in the mail from Jefferson County today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like that, because we, Eddie and I both talked to them at the county, and she said that they could do up the postcards, print the whole things up, address them, the whole thing, say what we want to do on it. Sending a postcard would be a lot cheaper than sending an envelope and a stamp.
Sure.
Yeah.
Both those dates are available at the school.
Okay,
I would opt for the 17th, because I sure won't be here on the 24th.
okay.
He's got the magic computer on.
Oh, yeah.
I got the calendar for the community center and the gyms and stuff.
Can we just go through you to set it up too?
You gotta go through the district
And you
office.
can share it too.
Yeah, and you got $25 to pay for it.
So I would make a motion that we, get the school on the 17th and have a public hearing to discuss this.
It's a motion.
No, it was a motion, I don't know that we needed one, but it doesn't hurt.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to schedule a public hearing to determine if town electors would agree to borrow money to repair the town roads. The hearing would be advisory only.
August 17th.
Pardon?
On August
On
17th.
August 17th.
And if
And
you
keep
want,
in mind that the other
Yep,
hearing
7
will be the
o'clock.
budget hearing.
No, Saturday morning, I would say at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
What time?
Nine.
And you would chair the meeting, and if you want me to take over right after that, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Or if you wanna do it, explain everything, that's okay too.
No, I'll let you do it.
Surprise, surprise.
We saw that coming.
You would like that.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Meeting's adjourned.